Peggy Anastas, co-chair of the Governor's New Jersey Puerto Rico Commission, discusses the important work of the commission and how New Jersey and Puerto Rico are perfect together. It's so here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Choose to get lost in the woods to gain experience in forest management.
Choose to travel through time to understand the past.
Choose to soar to pursue a career in dance.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation, and Stockton University. This edition of Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is brought to you by the HD Studios at the campus of Stockton University.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, offering primary, specialty, and urgent care, plus surgery and more. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.
Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. I'm happy to have as a special guest, Peggy Anastas. She is the co-chair of the Governor's New Jersey Puerto Rican Commission. Peggy, it's so nice to have you here on Latino Motion.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Peggy, me and you go back a long time, and I've been so honored that I recently had the opportunity to serve with you in the Puerto Rico Commission. And we want to talk a little bit about what that organization does, and you're a key part of that organization as the chair.
I think the first thing you have to understand that we have different groups, Puerto Rican groups and Hispanic groups. And one of the things that's important is that we need to have a group that represents specifically the Puerto Rican people that are here, especially through all the disasters that they went through, hurricanes, Hurricane Maria, earthquakes. And how do we help these American citizens? And how do we help them when they get here in the States? And how can we help them in the island? Now, we understand, too, that as we're helping them, we're helping everybody that's going through disasters from other countries, because as Puerto Ricans, and you've been here a long time, we help everybody. We consider Puerto Ricans / Latinos, and we're helping everybody who needs our help, and we support them.
Exactly. And you mentioned an important thing when you mentioned helping these American citizens. And, not everyone is aware that Puerto Ricanos happen to be U.S. citizen. And so really the efforts in New Jersey by New Jersey governor and others to help Puerto Rico, it's certainly very noble. Tell me about the formation of the commission. How did it come about?
Well, first, the governor started with Maria. We put together a commission early on, and then we decided that a lot of the legislators decided that we should have a permanent commission. And they created a permanent commission made up of leaders, made up of elected officials. We have the senators, assembly people on our commission, so we can at least have a strong support, and it will be permanent to help the Puerto Rican community in the state that needs help, that we're American citizens, and there are other commissions. And you know what it does? It really brings up the people, because there are many type of different commissions in the state, and now there's a new commission, the Asian Americans, and pretty soon we're going to be working with the Asian Americans too, because we all have almost certain different problems, but a lot of problems that are the same.
Yeah, exactly. certainly the commission has an important role, right, in terms of getting New Jersey engaged in some of the affairs of Puerto Rico, but also helping los puertorriqueños here in the state. Tell me a little bit about what you envision are going to be some of those initiatives.
I'm going to tell you, in the beginning, when the people were just moving and coming up here, and we had the first commission, we tried to see how, this is mental health issues. So we looked into the health issue. How can we help you? And we were working with a lot of the community-based organizations. We also worked for people who lost everything. They were doctors, they were lawyers, and they lost all their paperwork. And where are you going to get these information? So we worked with Consumer Affairs to make sure that they got licensed. We have a lot of lawyers in our commission that help them with their problems. We were able to get together and we raised money and we met with them. We went through all the different groups like North, Central, and South Jersey. So that was the beginning. But now then we had the problem with the COVID and we had the problem with the earthquake. So one of the things that we do, I'll give you an example good news before I came on. We're trying to make sure that we're going to have a summit sometime in the third week of May, the commission, to meet with all the departments to see where they can help, what the problem are going, and to follow up on the original commission, what we have done. That's one thing we're doing. We're also going to have an economic summit in Puerto Rico, bringing companies from New Jersey to Puerto Rico and to see how we can bring business from there to here and businesses from New Jersey to Puerto Rico, because many have left. There were problems there. We also are working to make sure that we have people that are professionals. Like for this, my good news today was that we, the commission, supported General Lester Martinez to be number 2 in the Department of Defense in the area of health. And that area of health is going to be the person in charge during disasters to make sure that all the health issues are being taken care of. And we might have some other problems in the future with Puerto Rico, with the way the climate changes are happening. And to have a Puerto Rican in there who has been vetted completely and is now, as of this morning, he started the hearing at the Senate. So we might have a person like that to help the people of Puerto Rico.
Certainly, that certainly is a big achievement, and I tell you, there's so much need in terms of having Hispanic representation. Certainly, Puerto Rican representation as well. In terms of the commission, right? When we're talking about sitting here in New Jersey, trying to alleviate some of the problems, the concerns in Puerto Rico, do you really realistically think that the commission is going to have an impact?
All right, I'll give you an example. This week we met with the education team, and we were saying, what can we do now? Because you still have the pandemic and all the situations. But we know that the schools are having a hard time in painting the schools, giving supplies to the children. I'm looking to, for instance, get the Secretary of State at our meeting in either April or March. But we have met with very key people from Puerto Rico. And tomorrow we're going to have the head of all Puerto Rico offices in the state and in Puerto Rico to give us an idea what is needing now. The teachers are striking. So, but we found an organization that works with the schools, and we're going to partner with them and raise money to save a school. Instead of us deciding to just choose one school, we're going to go with an organization that's working with 20 or 30 to help build up, to get equipment, to get painted, and to get books, and to see what else they need, to actually partner with the schools. Whether it's 20 and we adopt 10 schools, what do you need? How can we help you? And how can we raise the money for you? That's one. The other thing
Well, we're gonna hold on to the next one because we're gonna take a quick break. But Peggy, ideally, what you're saying is that we're able to leverage not just relationships, but certainly resources to help some outcomes in Puerto Rico. And you're just giving an illustration in terms of education. We want to take a quick break because we want to continue to discuss some of those other examples where the commission can have an impact in Puerto Rico as well as the Puerto Rican community here in New Jersey. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. We continue our discussion with Peggy Anastas. She is the co-chair of the Governor's New Jersey Puerto Rico Commission. Peggy, we were talking about some great things that the commission is already doing in terms of leveraging resources and really networking to help Puerto Rico. Particularly, you mentioned when Hurricane Maria impacted Puerto Rico and the big impact that New Jersey had to help there. One of the things that I think was vital is certainly organizing the community here in New Jersey to be able to be of assistance there. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, one of the reasons, and you're one of the commissioners, but the original commission, we actually, some of us with the governor and some people went to Puerto Rico and to see how we can help. And we went and brought money down there. And we also, some of our groups from different areas actually raised and got, what do they call, those water and tanks and the electric generators. We got generators for the school. You have every area like Jersey City brought in, and we had, we even had the governor gave us the GAR, the National Guard to go with us and help. We had people, young people that went and helped clean up, firemen. So we did a national, as a matter of fact, our commission, we have under the undersheriff of Passaic County, a group ready to go with all the commissioners. We asked all the commissioners to get together, all the towns in their area and their key people to actually be ready, be prepared in case we have another any type of any disaster, that we're ready to go. So that's one of the things. And we're always looking for things to do, like say PPE. We got people that go out there and volunteer. Right now, they are working on. People are asking for those about the electricity.
Yeah, actually, I do want to talk a little bit about that, and it's just breaking this up a little bit into compartments. I know that the commission is also organized around committees, and you mentioned the electric, obviously electric and utilities is one of those subcommittees that are working on some recommendations, which is important to see what impact certainly New Jersey could have in helping the situation there in Puerto Rico. Tell me about the other subcommittees that have been formed under the commission.
Okay, we have the economic chamber. So that's where we're going to work, and we're going to have in Puerto Rico to work and see how can Puerto Rico and New Jersey work perfect together, and how we can maybe bring businesses down there because many have left, and how we can encourage people. We are thinking of joining. There's going to be a big convention in Puerto Rico, the 25th of July to the 30th. And at that same convention where many of the main corporations will be there, I've been offered a workshop there to work with all the commissioners are welcome to come, and the business people from Puerto Rico and the business people that are going to be there as sponsoring this giant convention, which is actually the LULAC convention, which is the League of United Latin American Citizens, the largest group of Latinos throughout this country and other countries, founded 93 years ago by the Mexican community, and now it's made up of Puerto Ricans, every single Latino, and especially the Mexicans, Central America and everywhere. And I'm happy to say at one point I was a vice president of the LULAC organization, and I'm going to be there and working with them. And why do you need to work with them? Because they're your network that can help you and to work with you. And they are very good in supporting us, especially when we're concerned about the lack of the civil rights that Puerto Ricans are still not given 100%, that they support us on all that. That's another way we work on that.
Peggy, I know that in addition to that, there is the Education Committee, which you already alluded to, in terms of some of the work that's ongoing there to help the schools, and the foundation that you were able to that you're going to be able to work with. There's also one on healthcare, and I forget some of the others. Maybe you could elaborate on what some of the other subcommittees under the commission.
Hey, well, I could tell you, basically, we try to keep health. We know there's a problem with mental health. When you have to leave your home, you don't have a home, then you're someplace else. Leaving such a beautiful island, because I love the island and it's gorgeous, and now you have to start fresh. So we know there's an issue, and that's one of the things that we're going to in May, where the governor's office and the committee, we're looking for a place, and we're going to have it in May. Hopefully this pandemic, goes down so we can have it in person. There's nothing like doing it in person. So we're going to have the health department there, and we're going to have the education department there. One of the things that we're working on now to make sure that Puerto Rican Latino studies are being taught in this educational system in the whole state of New Jersey. I think it's a time so people understand, and that would include Puerto Ricans and all Latinos in the state.
Now, you mentioned obviously the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. In addition to economic development, a big part of that is tourism. Do you think this commission will also be engaged in helping in terms of promoting tourism to the island?
Of course. And one of the things that this commission is the right commission is because the legislators that put this commission together and the governor, they decided that there should be two people from the government of Puerto Rico, from the Puerto Rico themselves. So they could tell us, we shouldn't be here living okay and enjoying everything. And when a disaster getting all the help, we need to ask them, what do you need? As a matter of fact, the head of the Puerto Rico Federal Affairs Office will be our speaker at tomorrow's meeting with the commission. And that's what we're going to say. Right now, there's issues going on. What exactly do you need in the next couple of months for us to do? We're doing this training, and we're going down to Puerto Rico about the economic. What else do you want? Because a lot of things are happening. Many of you have heard that the teachers are striking. The teachers in the business and the professionals of Puerto Rico are underpaid by 40% almost at what the people on the other in our state, New Jersey, get paid, and teachers. So they have a right to get upset, but they're going through a crisis. So they're negotiating. So we support them in whatever they ask us. Once they settle that, they will tell us. I'm trying to get the United States Secretary of Education to come and speak to us, because he gave Puerto Rico $4 million. I want to ask Miguel Cardona, Secretary, how can New Jersey work with you to help Puerto Rico? Because right now we should partner with everybody. That's
a great segue to our next segment. We want to talk about some of those partnerships. Peggy, great discussion. We want to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. We continue our discussion with Peggy Anastas. She is the co-chair of the Governor's New Jersey Puerto Rico Commission. And Peggy, we were talking about the great work of the Puerto Rican Commission. Partnerships is certainly one of the big things that the commission is about, forming those critical partnerships, not only with New Jersey, with departments within the state of New Jersey and also Puerto Rico. Why is it so important to have those partnerships?
Because like in life, you can't do it alone. And everybody should understand that. The more friends you have, the more you work together, the better it is for your outcome to become to be the right thing, to become your outcome. And everybody has a little bit to add to everything. I might be an expert, have these connections, other people have these connections. That's why I am in so many organizations like Lupe and many other, LULAC and many other organizations. So I think making organization, we have people in the commission that are from the Congreso Boricua, from Pratt and Perth Amboy. We have other organizations that are involved. We have the elected officials, the president of the Latino caucus, Assemblywoman Lopez, Senator Poe, and we have Assemblywoman Munoz and others, Council President from Newark, Honorable Luis Quintana, and we can go on because we're like 35 of us. So why they're connected is important.
One of the things that the commission, you mentioned early on, the really temporary commission was formed as a result of Hurricane Maria. This commission, on its permanent status that it has, as a commission directly appointed by the state of New Jersey, is certainly trying to help with recovery efforts, not only from Maria, but also from COVID. But there's also preparations for the next disaster. There certainly is going to be another storm down the road. Is that within the scope of the work of the commission as well?
Yes, of course. As a matter of fact, like I said, our undersheriff from Passaic County is the one in charge, and he is making sure that every single area, every county, we're prepared, that we can call each of our head in each county and say, get ready, we're going to start helping everyone. And it doesn't necessarily just mean if it just happens to Puerto Rico. We are open to help everybody. Anybody has a disaster. That's why I find having General Martinez in the Defense Department of Defense as Undersecretary, he will help everybody. Santo Domingo, the islands, a hurricane. He's going to be in charge of all the disasters. So that is going to help everybody.
Let me just comment real quickly. I know you have a very impressive background, and you mentioned key players in the state. You mentioned the fact that you have those contacts in Puerto Rico, and you've been an advisor in the president's presidential circles, as well as governors in Puerto Rico. Tell me a little bit about that role that you have played as far as your career.
Well, I was a presidential appointee to President Clinton, and I was very lucky to have that. I worked on his both campaigns. Very easy, very happy because I'm always working, and I found a friend of mine later on became the deputy chief of staff to the President Clinton, and we were the original ones that formed the Hispanic National to support Bill Clinton for president. So, you have to get involved, and you knew that. I have been, I also, because of that, and I'm at the White House, I met the governor of Puerto Rico, and I'm saying, I'm Puerto Rican, how can I help you? And they were talking to me about a bill they were working on and what they needed and whatnot. I said, I can help you. And the rest is history. After that, I started working for the governor of Puerto Rico.
I know your passion around small business. I understand you was also with the Conference for Business during that Clinton administration. You've also have been certainly engaged in many fronts. And one of the things that I find impressive in your background that I didn't know, and I know you for over 20 years, I did not know that you was the first Miss Puerto Rico in New Jersey. Tell me a little bit about that.
Wow. We see, everybody says one of the great things about being Puerto Rican, and as a matter of fact, there's a book called Latinas, and I'm quoted in the back of the book. I was interviewed for that book, and I said that one of the things that I'm most happy about, even though I'm from Patterson, I came to Patterson 11 months, that I never lost being Puerto Rican. And why I did that? Because I loved our culture, I love people, I love Hispanic people, I love food, I love all people, and I am a real Jersey girl too.
So Peggy, I know that you've been a mentee to many, and you continue to do that today. We have certainly a large Latino community here, Puerto Riqueño, as well as from a lot of other countries. What advice do you give in terms of getting engaged? Why is it so important that for us Latinos that we should get engaged in our communities?
Okay, you cannot. Roberto Clemente, we have a group, a national group called Group 21. When I first was asked to join, and I'm New Jersey person for that, I said, what does 21 mean? Shame on me. That was Roberto Clemente's number. Okay, I had to sneak and find out what is that. But what we do is try to help everybody throughout this, throughout the country, because Roberto Clemente died bringing food. He was Puerto Rican, but he was bringing supplies and food to Panama, where they just had a major crisis. And he died on the plane bringing supplies. So we honor the fact that he was a helper, and he was always help. And I think it's you just have to get involved. You can't sit and wait for people for something to come to you. See, I believe in certain things, and I didn't get everything, but you know what? I continue. I'm going to fight for the equality of Puerto Rico, that we get treated equally as American citizens. I'm going to fight for women. I'm going to fight for young women. I am part of LUPA. Anybody, you can post my email. I am very strong for what happens to the island, but I also have mentored more Latinas and non-Latinas than anybody else, a lot of people. So I'm open to help everybody.
Well, Peggy, that's great advice. Great advice, certainly for our audience. And unfortunately, we've run out of time. So thank you so much for all the work you've done, and certainly your leadership in New Jersey. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you, Bert. I wish you could have had, I can talk for 2 or 3 hours nonstop. And I have a story. I'm going to write a book. Everybody has been trying me to write a book, and I just haven't had the time because I'm too busy.
Well, Peggy, thank you. And thank you at home for joining us once again here on Latino Motion.
Choose to get your feet wet, to learn more about protecting our environment. Choose to read minds, to understand the human brain.
Choose to get your hands dirty, to create a masterpiece.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, offering primary, specialty, and urgent care, plus surgery and more. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world, and South Jersey Gas.